Denver's jail is full of people who've had run-ins with the law, and that includes its new permanent sheriff.
Someone who appreciates the value and power of second chances.
24 years ago, Elias Diggins was a 23-year-old deputy convicted of a misdemeanor crime. He got caught lying to a judge about car insurance.
Having a second chance is something that we all should be afforded. I'm a shining example of what can happen if you truly give someone a second chance. I've been promoted 5 times since that time.
I asked Diggins and the mayor about the public's mistrust and anger about the excessive force scandals to come out of the jail. How do you expect to be tough on bad deputies while emphasizing second chances? Diggins says he will use his old mistakes and experience to bring more humanity to the job, especially when training deputies on using force.
If you do that with humanity, understanding that this is someone's loved one, this is someone's father or mother or brother or sister, when you use force, when you respond to their resistance, it changes your mindset about how you do that. These are people.
Sheriff Diggins was there from the very beginning. He understands the challenges that we've had and, quite frankly, the indignation the community had towards some of the videos that we've seen, some of the transgressions we've had, the large payouts.
Amid excessive force reputations, COVID-19 is another problem Diggins will inherit. As of last week, more than 200 inmates have tested positive since the pandemic began, with about 80 who've been released.
It's mandated that all of our staff wears masks. We've done things like increase our cleaning protocols. We've educated our staff.
Jeremy Hohola, 9 News.
Diggins served as interim sheriff for 9 months in 2014. The department was focusing on major reforms. He begins his new role 1 week from today.